You're listening to the Cartoonist Podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Smith and Jacob Hood.
How's it going, guys? This is Jacob Hood.
And I'm Ricky Smith. And we are
The Cartoonists.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about art versus business in the animation industry.
We're also going to have a spoilers discussion about the new Incredibles 2.
All that and more on the new episode of
The Cartoonists. So, Ricky,
Yeah.
you know, I got a Facebook account relatively recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of late to the game on that, but...
For 9 years.
Oh, yeah. I have... How many months? I think maybe 2 or 3. Anyway,
Wow. Newly.
so there's a lot of things that I found sort of surprising, I think is a good way of putting it. Surprising about Facebook, but one of the biggest things that I'm kind of fascinated and horrified by is minions are everywhere. Absolutely everywhere on
yeah.
Facebook. I completely out of any sort of context from the movies that they were from. I guess that was just something that no one really told me about. Or I'd heard a little bit about the Minion memes on Facebook, but I had no idea it was as prominent as it actually is.
Well, I'll say this at least. It's not as prominent as it was a few years ago. I remember a few years ago, like, anyone's aunt tagged them and things that made no sense at all. Like,
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
like, you had a bad day today. It's a picture of, like, a minion having, like, a rain cloud on top of them or something like that. Or, like, I don't know, like, have a blessed day. And it's a picture of, like, a minion giving someone a high five or something like that. Like, it's just, they were so pointless because it made no sense in the movie. And I feel like most people that posted those had nothing to do with the movie at all. Like, they didn't watch the movie or anything. They just, like, it's all cute little yellow creatures. And,
So-
like, they're just so, like marketable, I feel like.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Is
Yeah.
it sounds more like it's not... These characters aren't really known as much for the movies that they're in as much as they're known for the marketability.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've said this many times, like, yellow characters, for some reason, I guess because, like, they're one of those kind of colors that they aren't red, so they aren't, like, super, like, angry color or blue, which is more cool and stuff. Yellow is more of, like, a normal calm color, I guess. And, like, I mean, you see it everywhere, like SpongeBob, Simpsons, Minions, Big Bird.
There is something visually appealing, like...
Pokemon, Pikachu. Like,
Oh, yeah.
There's so many yellow characters out there, and it's just ridiculous how that color's just become, like...
Like Jake the dog. From
Jake the dog,
Adventure
yes,
Time, yeah.
exactly, yeah. Like, it's one of those kind of colors where, like, it's just ridiculous how marketable that color is. And Minions being so, like, generic, I was mentioning this earlier, like, their character design doesn't really make much sense outside of the lab. Like, them with the little goggles and,
Right.
like, stuff. Like, I mean, why? Like, it's one of those kind of things that any kid could draw, which I guess is, like, the big selling point, because, like, anything kids can mimic and draw are, like, really attractive for toys, I guess. But, like, it's just... If you play the game of putting, like, 3 minions in front of you and you had to guess which one's which, I doubt you can do it. Like, there's Dave, Stewart, and...
Isn't there one named
Bob,
Kevin?
yeah, Kevin, yeah. You know, it's and the names are so generic. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I think
like, they're the most generic guy names there are.
this is a topic that's been done to death, and I think more than anything, like, yes, we know Minions is not probably the most artistically, what's the word? Intelligent, I guess, just artistically engaging property out there, but I think that really the thing we want to talk about today is just how I don't even think this is necessarily a new trend in animation, but there seems to be a general divide between animation being something that is more for business and animation being viewed as an art form, something that should have artistic integrity. And I think, yeah, definitely in the animation industry, there is somewhat of a divide on this. And I know we've kind of thrown this name out there before, but Illumination is definitely an example a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking have the most artistic integrity.
right, yeah.
But I know we had a show a couple weeks ago where we talked about Illumination and how all of their character designs looks relatively the same. But I was looking at the designs for Secret Life of Pets. I forgot where I was seeing this, but I remember thinking, I got confused, like, wait, this looks just like Sing, that movie with all the animals.
Yeah, it really does. Like the little beady eyes and stuff. Like,
well, it's not just beady eyes. I think, and this is kind of obscurely specific, but there's a distance, I think, between the eyes and the mouths of Illumination characters. Even like the new Grinch, like there's just something about the way they're portioned or proportioned.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of off topic from the entire art versus business thing. But yeah, I
think what you're trying to get to is that they're designed to sell toys, and like you can see the dogs, like Sacred Off the Pets, and you can see every single one of them as little stuffed plush characters. Like they're just shaped to be a pillow. I mean, like just look at them. You know what I mean? Like little poodle looking one. She just looks like she's like a toy. Like all of them look like toys already, and like. I mean, I understand, like, this kind of thing's been going on for years. Like, even in the 80s, like, all TV shows are based off of, like, properties that have already existed throughout toys, with toys and stuff like He-Man, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
And stuff. Like, this trend is not new, but, like, I feel like right now it's becoming popular again, I guess, with, like, My Little Pony coming back, and, like, it's just, I don't want to say it's sad.
That is
like,
so true.
I don't know how I feel about that, like, but just making toys... started making shows just to sell toys. I mean, like, I understand. I'd rather have, like, a show that's really popular. Like SpongeBob, for example. SpongeBob got lucky that it's one of those kind of shows that's, like, both a greatly written show and also a greatly marketed character. Because, like, it works for both ends. It's not just one or the other. I mean, maybe now, it's maybe more for just... But originally,
that's
it was such a great show, but at the same time, he was such a remarkable character that no one cared that he was everywhere. I mean, I guess some people that are a little bit older didn't really understand the show, but, like, for me, I don't know. I didn't mind seeing him everywhere, but, like, Minions, for example, I know we just said that before, but, like, I don't think it was that well, like, written, I guess, and, like, it just seemed like Universal's making it to sell toys, I guess, and, like...
I think that the designs of Illumination characters, and there are many other offenders, so I'm not just singling out Illumination.
We'll get some others, too, yeah.
But there really is there's something about the character design that I think is cost effective, but in many different ways. I think that with Minions specifically, it's cost effective in that they're very simple characters to model. They're simple characters to work with in terms of the actual technical animation process.
Yeah.
And they're also very marketable. There's something that I hate saying this, but Minions are very iconic. And I think the simplicity is part of what makes them so iconic.
Definitely, I would agree, yeah.
I'm trying to think of another example of side characters that are sort of Minion-like. I guess Smurfs are kind of
yeah, Smurfs actually is a really good example. I was actually watching the Smurfs last year. I was trying to do this little, like, fidget spinner cartoon, kind of making fun of, like,
you
how
told
you
me
can make a cartoon
that.
out of anything, and, like, it can still be, like, marketable, I guess.
Kind of making fun of that 80s cartoon.
Yeah, and basically,
style.
like, I was watching a few episodes of the Smurfs for some research, and I noticed, like, not every episode, but a lot of the episodes ended with, like, someone looking at one of the characters, like, so-and-so, and he, like, shrugged his shoulders, and, like, dun, 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 and the episode ends, and I'm like, wait, that's the end of it?
Scooby-Doo had a similar...
Yeah, but not as much. I mean,
it.
Scooby-Doo was at least, like, somewhat clever with, like, the mystery and all, but, like, the Smurfs is just, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, especially in the movies now, I mean, now they're totally, like, just cash grab type movies and stuff, and, like, I don't know. I just feel like, even though they aren't yellow, they're blue, but at the same time, like, they're such a unique, like, look that they're very easily marketable, I guess, as well.
It's not necessarily character driven. It's more you have these cute, iconic looking, funny sort of comic relief characters, and the Smurfs really do look like the kind of characters that would be side characters in another movie. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, in the actual movies that did exist, like, they were, like, maybe part of the movie, but not the whole movie. Like, Neil Patrick Harris's character,
right?
was,
That's what I was thinking
in the
of.
movie. And I feel like a lot of those animated movies that take place in real life have that kind of element. You know what I mean? Because you can't, like, have a whole entire movie that's set in, like, real life be about those characters, because you have to talk about, like, the world around them. So they usually have, like, a kid character or some kind of human live action person that interacts with them or has, like, to be affected by them. So, like, the movie can't just be about them because they aren't in their world anymore. I know we're getting off topic on that, but
yeah, just a little bit. But
it's still somewhat relevant to it. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it falls in the category of the whole, like, 80 shows that do that. I mean, it still technically counts as one of those shows as well.
You brought up shows like He-Man and
Transformers and stuff.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One difference that I've noticed between, say, like, TMNT and Minions, other than, like, fan base culturally being completely different, is you wouldn't necessarily know that the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was made to sell toys. It doesn't necessarily come across as that. It comes across as it just so happened that even if I'm not saying that the original TMNT is going to be the most riveting intellectual show, but
Yeah, I hear you.
it was. I would say it was still a very entertaining show. Like there was still.
They had a good goodish villains, and like different storylines that were like.
Yeah, it was fun. It was something that you could watch unironically.
Yeah. Right. No, I hear you.
I was never a huge Transformers fan, so I can't really like, and I mean that isn't like I never really even saw the show, so I don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about that.
It's kind of funny, like shows like Transformers and G.I. Joe and things like that. We didn't grow up on them or anything, but we know, but just like seeing like all the different things that come from it, like new characters, different trucks, different buildings and things, and all those are all made to sell toys. Like you could tell, like.
But at the very least, what I was going to say about those shows from the 80s, and I would say even early 90s somewhat, is at least there was some creativity to it. Like there was an imaginative quality about the way they're designed.
Oh, yeah.
You look at the Turtles, and they all have very distinct personalities.
But they all look the same.
Well, yeah, okay. But at least it's an interesting design. It's not just like a Tic Tac with goggles on, you know?
Oh, okay.
So what I'm saying is I think the difference between... when we talk about how like Minions and franchises like that, which are just, or even like the Emoji Movie, for example, how that's something that was made with the intention to sell another product other than the movie.
Right.
I think with those, the criticism comes from there's a lack of thought. It's like the design is a great example of that. Whereas with TMNT, of course it's meant to sell toys, but there was a lot of thought and effort put into the designs of the characters' personalities, the storyline. And so I think that's really where you have one versus the other, where one does have an element of quality to it, and the other one is Minions.
Well, one question I have, which I've noticed like a lot of shows like Scooby-Doo and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, are like they're able to like, come back many years later. Like they have a new series coming out later this fall.
Oh, yeah.
Things like Rise of the Turtles. Do you believe Minions will have the same kind of longevity in 2048? Like, do you think we'll see...
I think in 2048, Minions is going to be one of those things where we look back and think, why? What was that?
It's like Furbies, you think, kind of? Like...
Kind of, yeah. And there's all sorts of examples that I'm not thinking of, but things that...
So you don't think it's like a comeback for them and then 30 years from now, like nostalgic?
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's a live-action New York City chase?
Let's hope not. I think we'll probably be far enough from that cliche at that point. But I'm just talking about like
maybe,
things,
I don't know, yeah.
things that our parents liked, more obscure cartoons, like Speed Racers, for example. I feel like
that's a random one. Yeah.
When I was younger, I would see spoofs of Speed Racer, and I would have
the Dexter episode.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
I remember
I would
that
have
one.
no idea what that was.
Dexter,
but
like
my guess is that Minions is going to be kind of like that, where things in the future sort of parody that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And kids are going to think like, what are those yellow characters that we see everywhere? Or just things like that.
No, I can see that. Yeah. Well, I guess getting more on topic about this, are there any like good properties you can think of that? So I know you mentioned Ninja Turtles, but like, I guess like, I don't know, a lot of Disney properties like they're made to sell toys.
Oh yeah, like the Princess line. We talked about that a little bit last time, but yeah, that's 100%.
Like Disney is the king
intention
of making toys based off their properties, but at the same time they focus on like making, very timeless stories and all, while also like Lion King, for example. Like you can, it's funny, like my mom had one of these old like Disney catalogs from the 90s. I was looking through them and like they had so many like products from these movies and all, but like they were all good movies. And like I feel like if the sole intent is to create toys, then like I guess it won't be as much focus into stories and stuff, because like budget and all, because you're spending all the money on toys. But like if it's
think about that's okay. Well, think about Star Wars. That's a huge example of the toy line for Star Wars is absolutely insane.
Like toy stores nowadays, like even Lego. Like I was looking at the Lego toys. All the Lego toys were Star Wars related almost.
Well,
like,
you think about like the Lego movie. That's yet another example of that was literally it is a toy. That's what the movie is based on. But it's a great property.
It was great. So yeah, exactly. Like
it really comes down to
writers.
And I've said this before, but I think really the two most important parts of any animated project are the quality of the storytelling and the quality of the characters. And if both of those things are not there, it really is a sort of synergy where like you were saying, Disney is the king of creating characters and whatever that are you can adapt that into merchandise.
Right.
I think that merchandise, people have an emotional connection to those characters, and so that's where the marketability comes from. Not the wackiness of the design. Like it's not, you don't throw. People don't like Mickey Mouse because it's like, oh, look at that funny, silly character.
He's not even silly looking. I mean,
no, I would say he's a very appealing character. But
Yeah.
the reason why Mickey, I would say that his appeal is much broader than just his likability from the original cartoons, because Mickey really isn't. He really isn't the most interesting or funny character.
well, lots of people say like,
but
like characters like Goofy are the most like relatable characters. Like he's like a single dad who
Oh, yeah.
went to college and stuff. Like,
even Donald, like people identify with him because his personality being sort
Yeah.
of this angry, frustrated guy is so
Yeah.
relatable. Well, no, all those characters, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, it goes beyond that. It's something where people have an emotional connection to the characters that translates into what they want to buy on a more personal level, like merchandise, like I was just saying.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that comes from, and I think that's probably why I don't think Minions is going to last nearly as long as a character like Mickey, because there isn't that. I mean, literally, there isn't that character to them.
Well, one good thing is though, recently I've been to Walmart and I've noticed in the clearance aisle, like literally, the walls are just full of Minions clearance items for like $1.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like people are getting tired of them. Like my little brother, he's 13. He's saying like no one in his class ever talks about Minions ever. Like Minions are one of those kind of things where like Angry Birds, like they're dead.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Like no one cares about these properties anymore. Like
Even Angry Birds had more personality. They were literally angry. That's
yeah,
the thing with Minions is that their marketability is solely on like, oh, they look silly.
Yeah.
Like there's no personality. There's nothing. Like,
Yeah.
what even are they?
and like it's
Again, I'm saying nothing new, but
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully Minions are going away soon, and we won't never have to see them again. I mean, I'm sure like Universal will find a way to bring it back someday, but
oh, they'll try. There's no doubt they'll try.
Yeah.
But, I think, and really just summing up what I've already been saying, regardless of whether or not something is built for another purpose other than just the medium that they're in, like obviously toys is the big one we're talking about. The biggest thing is how well the story holds up, and most importantly in this case I would say how well the characters hold up as characters. It doesn't matter if they're made specifically to sell toys. If they don't work on an emotional level, then that's where it doesn't work.
yeah.
So speaking of franchises that have way too much merchandising, I saw this thing. I hadn't even realized that in between the 14 years that we had to wait between Incredibles 1 and 2, there had been 3 Cars movies. I knew that there had been 3 Cars
Wow, I
movies.
guess there has been. Wow.
Yeah, I guess that really does show.
Dang, that's crazy. 2004. Yeah, the first one came out in Cars came out in 2006.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which that does sell. That does sell a lot of toys, but
Yeah.
you'd think Incredibles would be really pop, especially sort of that. I'm not sure if this would be the exact demographic, but boys under like 10 years old, I would assume that would be a big target audience. For
Yeah, well,
Incredibles, but-
people always say like make sure you have like your target audience because you can't just say movies for everyone. But I mean, I feel like Incredibles really is. I mean, like there's a lot of elements to the movie. I know we mentioned this in the last episode, but there's many elements to the movie where like adults can really relate to it. At the same time, like there's kids characters so they can relate to that, and also just superhero action that which anyone can relate to. I just feel like that movie was really able to like capture all elements of family.
if
dynamics,
anything,
I guess.
yeah, that really is like the most marketable Pixar movie
It
because
really is. Yeah,
it's a family. Like that's that's everyone. Everyone has something they can relate to.
right.
But yeah, speaking of The Incredibles
Yeah,
and
the
that
second one.
and
Yeah.
that super subtle.
So wait, before we
segue.
say anything, guys, if you haven't seen the second movie yet, please turn off the podcast and make sure you turn it back on when you see it because we don't want to lose viewers.
yeah,
But we're about to get into spoilers right now, so either pause the video, go see the movie real quick.
most likely you've already seen it.
Yeah,
but
hopefully.
just in case,
But
you
if
probably
you
want
haven't,
to click
yeah.
away now.
Exactly.
Okay, so fair warning.
All right, everyone gone? Is everyone gone? We good?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right, let's go.
All right, Ricky.
Okay.
So what'd you think?
I thought it was awesome,
I thought it was great.
man.
I thought it was. I want to see it again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think one of the best things that stood out to me was like the character design. I know they're the same characters as the first movie, but like now that I'm an adult, like watching the movie again and seeing it through like an animator's eyes and stuff, even their head shapes and just small things like that, I noticed like like Frozone to Mr. Incredible to like the wife, like everyone had their own unique body type, and I feel like the outline test, which everyone talks about, like if you see the outlines of a character, you're really able to tell like what character it is just by seeing the outlines, and like they're just so unique, each of the characters, and like their movements had like a realistic look to them, but their characters were like so unique and cartoony looking that like they can easily translate into like 2D as well. But and even though they're CGI, it worked because like they didn't make the characters look too realistic. Which one thing that really I don't like in like with CGI movies a lot of times where like the characters look like just like humans, like you might as well have done live action. But like with The Incredibles, they use animation as a medium that they can like have really unique body types to really like show like the characters like personality and their look, and like I feel like their looks fit their personality very well.
Well, like Bob Odenkirk's character, it was basically just Bob Odenkirk, but a cartoon, or not cartoon, but like a caricatured sort of Brad Bird style character.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I thought you really did look like him. It was funny. Like.
I agree with you. I thought the character designs were absolutely fantastic. I thought that even compared to the first one, they still had that same sort of look stylistically, but I thought the way that they integrated their personalities into a visual representation was brilliant.
See, because like even like DreamWorks movies, a lot of the times the characters are like the celebrity that's voicing them.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if that's always the best because it's kind of creepy sometimes. Like, I don't know, like Alex and Lion kind of looks like, Ben Stiller a bit.
I wonder if some of that has to do with just the fact that it sounds like them, and so we immediately associate the voice with the face.
Because I hate to say this, but when I first saw Incredibles, the first one, I didn't know who Samuel Jackson was that well. Like, I was only like 9, so I didn't see that many of his movies, of course.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't know who he is at that age.
Well, again, the movie now, and knowing all the movies I know of Samuel, I can only see him, and I don't see Frozone. But sometimes I trick my brain into seeing only Frozone, but, like, knowing him, each time I see him on screen, I say, hey, Samuel. Like,
I disagree a little bit. I would say that, like, I think
Frozone his voice is so distinct, though, I guess. But, no, definitely. I feel like he does become the character, but at the same time, like, just knowing his voice is so iconic, I guess, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not his usual type of character, I guess, where he's always, like, kind of playing, like, a pissed off, like... type person. He's kind of more of like a cool I don't know, I mean, what was your take on it? You're gonna say
well, you mentioned I'm always talking about how iconic characters are, and kind of I know you're talking about Frozone, but I think really all of the leading characters have something about them that like you said, if you do a silhouette test, you know exactly who they are. Like Elastigirl, the way her hair sort of curls off to the side.
Yeah.
That is such a cool design detail, but it's organic to like it doesn't feel like her hair is plastic. It feels like it feels natural, but it's so iconic.
Illumination.
Yeah. Anyway, no, but I thought like Mr. Incredible, the way he is, like his head shape, the way his shoulders are so exaggerated.
His legs. I was laughing at his legs. His legs are like little dinky, like little legs, because his upper body is so, like huge and stuff. Like
there were times where I just had to stop and... I mean, it's not that these designs have changed that much from the original, but I would just have to stop and go, wow, those are beautiful characters.
Yeah. I mean,
you could totally see them in, like, 1960s mod art. You know what I mean?
That's another thing I was going to bring up, too. And, again, not to bash on the Minions, because I know this is, like, a Minions hate video.
Pretty much.
We do not hate Minions. Well, we kind of do, but not... Anyway, okay.
We don't... Here's the thing. If anyone from Illumination is listening...
I like Despicable Me 1. I love that movie.
Yes.
I thought it was really good and clever. But anyway...
We don't hate you.
Yeah.
We hate what you represent. We hate the decline in artistic integrity in animated movies. And
it can be turned around if it's done right, I guess. Like,
Yeah, we're not here to just bash, even though we totally did bash on Minions.
What I was going to say was, both movies were set in the 60s. Minions movie and Incredibles 2. And one thing I noticed was the research that they did. Incredibles 2 was incredible. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because like watching the Minions, like the first one, not Despicable Me, just like the Minions movie. I guess it's not the second one. It's just the regular Minions. Anyway, the Minions movie. It's supposed to be set in the 60s, but aside from a few pop culture references and like maybe a few like clothes designs and things like that,
cheap pop culture references too.
It didn't seem like it was any different than nowadays. Like, you couldn't tell it was obviously the 60s. It didn't really have a reason for it to be set in the 60s. And with The Incredibles, a few of the things I was really like amazed by were like the architecture, like the house that they stayed in, and then the different buildings that they went to and all. They all look like something that was designed right out of the Six Flags Frank Lloyd Wright would have designed or something like that. Like it just all looked like
every single design detail,
like even like
from the visuals to the music, everything about Incredibles 2 was conscientious.
It was so cool. One of the coolest things I thought about the movie was like when Dash was watching Johnny Quest.
That was awesome.
And I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Like, yeah, it's legit what a little kid would be watching right before school in the 1960s. Like, it seems like, and like, I don't know, like the house design in general was just so cool. Like having a mix of nature and also, like you totally spent a long time. Probably spoke to like many architects about like what do houses look like in this era and stuff like that. Like it was just it was amazing, and it was so funny about how like they had a pool inside the house and they pressed the button and the furniture went in there and stuff. Like
I was looking at that thinking I want that. I want to go to that house.
Right, me too. It feels so
actually
real.
You know what? So this is a little bit off topic, but with the Incredicoaster opening, I want to say on Saturday, the place where you queue up is actually the house. You get to go through that house.
No way.
I'm dead serious.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm so excited. So I actually do get to visit it, sort of.
Oh, it's Disneyland?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so happy for you. Wow, that's awesome.
I just thought of that. But anyway, yeah, so getting into the actual spoilers, because I know we kind of, we're a little bit off topic with that, but what did you think? Because I think the biggest thing that
well, should we talk about complaints?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Well, I think I want to rip the Band-Aid off first and then go back and maybe like massage it a bit, I guess. And that was weirdly weird. Okay.
It's okay. All right,
I'm not really going to use metaphors. Okay, but anyway, the villains. There's a few things I liked about it and a few things I didn't like about it. For one, I thought it was obvious at the very beginning who the villain was, and I thought it was a guy because he was way too happy. And it seemed way too easy and stuff. And most movies that are like this usually have like a... he's a villain, and you find that out in the first few minutes, and the whole movie's ruined because of that. And I hate to say it, but like since I've watched a lot of movies and written like animated things and all, you notice these things, and when you're a kid, you probably don't notice these things. But the one thing is the slight twist to it. I thought both the brother and the sister were both the villains. Do you remember their names?
No, I'm sorry.
The evil brother and sister, not the kids, but the evil brother and sister family that was like helping the supers become.
Which the brother was not evil, but
super again. I thought they're both gonna be shown as being evil, but having I think the twist of having the sister being the only villain, really real villain in it. I thought it was a good choice, but at the same time, her motivation wasn't very great. I mean.
I think that
she didn't really have a motivation though. I mean, like it's one of those kind of things where I was saying this to you earlier. I was saying to you earlier about this. Like instead of going from A to B, she went all the way to Z and then went back to all around the alphabet again, back to B again. To like, because basically, like she was saying something like how she didn't want supers to be around anymore. Instead of telling her brother, "I don't want you to do this," she like helped him out, and then tried to frame them to make them not like legal again. I mean, it was pointless. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I don't really know what they would have done instead. I don't really have any suggestions, but like I just
I
don't know.
I actually went to Incredibles 2 with a sort of bigger group, and it was mainly my family and some friends. But I think that the thing that I noticed about everyone's reaction to the villain, it seemed to be that they were impressed because they thought it was going to be the guy.
Yeah,
that was the big
clearly
thing.
Did yeah.
The design of the brother is, and I feel bad. I know the actor's name. I don't know the actual character's name, but no, the design. His design was definitely intentional to make you think he was this sleazebag who's going to be, and also the fact that
it was too easy. I feel
the
like
screenslaver character was supposed to be a guy. So I feel like other people have been more impressed by the twist, where I was thinking like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean, I expected the sister to be in on it, so that's not really surprising.
Yeah, but like not the only culprit.
But the last several Walt Disney Animation and Pixar animated movies, they've all been twists. So okay, this is going to be several spoilers, but I'm sure you've probably seen most of these by this point. So let's see, Wreck-It Ralph, Zootopia, Frozen.
Yeah. Toy Story 3.
That's
you
another
didn't know
one.
he was gonna be a villain.
I know there's others that I'm not thinking of, but you get the idea.
But yeah, it's new trend. Like 2010s have been like the decade of.
Big Hero 6, sort of.
I haven't seen that movie, so don't spoil that for me.
Okay, sort of. I need to watch that movie. I'm a little bit rusty, but but yeah,
One thing I was going to ask you
frustrating.
about like Screensaver or Screenslaver, is that what it is? Screenslaver.
Slaver, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of the flashing lights? Because I know they had like epilepsy.
Oh, that,
on
yeah.
There. What did you think of that? I mean, it kind of hurt my eyes a bit. I had to turn away for a few minutes, but like
the worst I've ever had. I've had a couple migraines that were pretty bad, but I've never had
really.
epilepsy.
So you have issues with that?
A little bit. I thought it was fine, but I don't want to speak for those who actually do have severe epilepsy.
I just feel like I don't know if it was necessary. Really, maybe they could have like toned it down a bit because like they did it multiple times. It wasn't just like once.
Well, people, the reaction I saw on the internet was pretty hardcore about like this is unacceptable. That
Yeah,
they don't
a lot of people were pissed. That's why I was like, yeah.
I would say 99.9% of people are not going to have a problem with it.
I just turned away. I just kind of like looked down a bit when that happened, and like it kind of went away. It wasn't. It was like maybe 10 seconds, if that.
Yeah, it happened. There's two different
like the
points
fighting scenes.
Yeah, it's where Elastigirl is fighting the Screenslaver, and I mean, if you've seen it, you know what happens. But I don't know. Why don't you guys let us know what you think? Because I personally didn't have a problem with it. But then again, like I said, I don't have serious light sensitivity issues, or I guess photosensitivity issues. So,
but yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like it was necessary, I guess, for like the characters to have the hypnosis thing, but like maybe the flashing lights were a bit much. I don't know, but
that was kind of his thing, though. That's why I'm arguing that it was a little bit necessary, because his entire thing was if you've seen it again, you know that the Screenslaver really isn't a real. He's not a real villain. He is a persona.
Did you think he was going to be a real villain? What was your initial thought of that when you saw him in the trailer?
At first, I'm actually glad, and some people might disagree with this, but I'm glad that the Screenslaver wasn't some whiny Jared Leto guy. Because like his voice sounds very. I just got the vibe of Jared Leto's Joker when the guy was talking, but then it turns out that he wasn't really the real Screenslaver because he's just a persona.
He's a guy.
Yeah, like he's not an actual guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I know like it was kind of obvious when like we found out that she was supposed to be the villain, but like when Elastigirl put the clues together, she realized like how easy it was for her to like catch him and stuff, and how there's cameras and all. I thought it was really clever how they were to have like the screen on there and you can like see what she was recording and stuff. Because I knew the whole entire movie I was like, I don't trust them. I don't trust her. I don't trust her.
Yeah.
And it seemed
well, that's probably why so many people were impressed, was because you get to know that character, and she has a connection with Elastigirl, and then
both like
she's the one, because you think, oh, okay, so she's probably going to be, if there's a bad one, it's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
So I wasn't super impressed by that, but I've definitely seen worse. Like, haha, it was me all along. Like, yeah, of course. I've seen much worse than that. But,
no, it could be a lot worse.
I was, and I'm not the first person to say this, but I was a little bit disappointed. I just wanted a good 1960s style villain for them to fight.
What would that be, example wise? Would it be like Syndrome?
Syndrome was an awesome villain.
All right, so this kind of movie, with like everything else that happened in the movie, do you think there's a way that kind of villain could have existed, or the movie had to be completely different, or for that kind of villain to exist? I know it's kind of a tough question.
That is tough.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they went in the direction that they did was she was bad because their parents were killed by by criminals, and there was no superhero showed up to save them. First of all, I would be mad at your parents for being stupid, because they said they had like that
safe room,
where they could go and hide from them. Like, that's not the fault of the superheroes. Why would you take out this like, she was ready to kill all these people because of a bad decision that her parents made. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Right.
I loved the movie, but that was the one thing where it's like I just didn't get that. That really baffled me. I thought maybe if they went into, say, like with Syndrome, his motivation was hilarious and also kind of heartbreaking, because I feel like, I mean, Ricky, you and I obviously know what it feels like to be uber geeky fans.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And then you meet someone and it's like
a jerk.
It's heartbreaking. And I thought,
okay, he wasn't really a jerk. He was, doing his job and he was being annoying. But at the same time,
but then
it's your hero.
Buddy didn't know that.
Yeah,
Buddy didn't
exactly.
understand he was getting married. So Syndrome's motivation was insane, but it was at least understandable, and it was hilarious and weird and like kind of sad.
It was pretty great, yeah.
I thought Syndrome was just an awesome character, and this new one, it's just some rando who says, "Oh, my parents got killed by not a superhero. My parents weren't killed by a superhero. It wasn't their fault, but I'm mad because no one showed up." Well, they didn't show up because Syndrome killed them. You know, like that's. I don't know if you caught that, but that was the reason why. Yeah, the reason why they didn't answer the hotline was because all of those characters that the parents called were dead.
Oh, right.
They'd been killed off.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
So it's
I
just
gotta
like
see
this
the second time.
Dirt misunderstanding, but
Wow.
I don't know. To act like that, I guess I'd just say butthurt. Like she was acting so butthurt and being willing to kill all these people and like mastering this mind control technology. Like why? That makes no sense.
That is really dumb. Wow.
And like what are you doing? Like why are you? They're already underground. So like you won. You got it. Anyway, I know I'm kind of ranting.
Well, yeah, to kind of wrap this up because we're about to hit 35 minutes.
I want to know what you guys have to say though, because this I honestly love the movie. I thought so many things were brilliant, but that is the one thing I wanted to get off my chest was I felt like that character needed a little something more to explain it. Like maybe a superhero killed her parents. Maybe the superhero turned out to be that might make no sense, but
maybe it was like
it needs some sort of explanation other than yeah.
Well, I was gonna say one last thing to wrap this up. The end of the movie, multiple like possible sequels after this. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think there could be more after this? Like,
oh yeah, I'd be first in line to see a sequel.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'd be a ton of other first in lines.
I was just gonna say one thing. I was gonna say two things I really would love to see. I don't know if these could both happen, but like one would be a Frozen spin-off movie. Like hearing his theme song and the whole Shaft parody thing, like
that was awesome.
It was so great. Like I don't know. I feel like Frozen's character is multi-dimensional enough that he could like have multiple personality, like a whole movie about him. Like
see his life with Honey. See his life with his wife.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I really feel like his character could be
his life with his wife. I think I said that wrong.
Wow.
Anyway,
a whole movie about him, basically.
Yeah.
That and also a new movie with the kids, more grown up. Like I wouldn't see Jack like grown up. I mean, I think in order for that to work, because he seems like unstoppable almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he is this little like demigod, basically.
Yeah, and I'm saying like if he were an adult and he had his own like movie, or he was like the main character of the movie, he would need some kind of weaknesses, or like a villain that has like the same kind of powers or something like that. Because if not, it's kind of boring. Because like he has no weaknesses and stuff. And like I just think it'd be really cool if like there was another movie for like maybe something like that to happen. Like maybe the kids are more grown up now, and the parents are kind of like passing down like the giving them the keys. I
think that's what they're setting up, because this
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Incredibles 2 really like the focus of the kids was they were coming into their own.
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
They were kind of realizing their because one of the themes was that they wanted to give the kids a choice, like do you want this life or not, because they didn't want to push it on them. But
that's very true. Yeah. Now, how long do you think it'll be into the next one? Do you think we'll wait until like 2030 something?
No. I think they realized that because this movie Incredibles 2 was, I want to say it broke the box office record for any animated movie.
Really?
I'm pretty
ever?
sure. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I might have even said that for the last episode, but was it Frozen?
I knew it.
I think
if it is, I wouldn't be surprised.
I need to look that up, but
yeah, that or like Zootopia, any Disney movie, pretty much.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would, strictly from a monetary standpoint. Why would they make it?
I guess maybe in the next 5 years, because like I think like I don't know if they really count like biological like clock time and all, but like if it was something like that, like maybe waiting for the kids to like, if they are, I don't know, how old would you say the kids are? Maybe like 10 and 13 maybe.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jack's like
because I think Dash, they said he was going into 5th grade.
Okay. Yeah.
In the last one.
Well, like maybe like I don't know, 5 years, and it's already been 15 years. But if they wanted to like kind of do what they did with Andy and like kind of have like them grow up, I think that'd be really cool. Like not too old, but maybe like late teens.
If they do make them older, I think they definitely need to keep the focus with the family dynamic.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like late teens, like not moved out of the house or anything like that, but like I say like late teens where they're like, about to move out maybe, and they're trying to like
because that's another thing that, well, Toy Story 3 sort of did that, but
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
we said this earlier, the thing that made Incredibles work so well, at least from a marketing standpoint, is everyone in the family can identify with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not one person in the family who can't identify with
it's funny,
with the Parr family.
My mom was like nudging my little sister about like Violet acting like her when she was that age and stuff. Like, just the whole teenage girl, like, character.
But Violet wasn't. I love that Violet wasn't a stereotype.
Exactly. Yeah, she has so many different like I guess elements to her personality. I mean, she had some like normal teenage girl things, but at the same time, she was like, I don't know. She seemed like a real person.
I thought what they did with the Tony, that's his name. What they did with Tony, where his mind was wiped, like the babysitter was in the first Incredibles.
Right.
And she thought he was ignoring her. Like that's behavior that guys do at that age.
Yeah, exactly.
That was brilliant.
It really
I thought
was.
that was just a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and how like the dad didn't realize what he was saying when he said it. And he's like, "Oh, I should not have said that."
Oh yeah.
And took her to the restaurant where he works and stuff. Like that was just perfect.
I also thought that Violet acts really teenagery, but her motivations make perfect sense. She's not. I was kind of afraid that they were gonna like, oh, she's growing up, she's going through puberty, like with the line that Dash says that is she having adolescence? I thought, it might be kind of a cheap thing, like they were gonna play off of stereotypes, but they didn't. They actually made her motivations very understandable. So I thought that was cool. All right, so if you guys have any thoughts on Incredibles 2 and aren't afraid to put it in the... Yeah, I think we know what your thoughts are on that, but no, we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you would, leave a comment, leave us a like, subscribe if you would.
Yeah,
I know we sound like living cliches here, but anyway, thanks for listening, guys.